Let's talk about how to use Heard It from the Grapevine to supersize and grow our business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And our communication-related idiom for this month is heard from the grapevine, or heard it through the grapevine. I've heard it said both ways, and I've actually used it. I learned early on in my corporate career, as well as in school, that the grapevine, the informal mode and network of communication, was often more effective for communicating and sharing information than the formal lines and formal channels, especially in corporate America. And I've learned a lot of strategies over the years that made it easy to get what you want by spreading the information you want through informal channels versus formal channels. This idiom, this expression, actually popped up during the American Civil War, when rumors were often spread through the telegraph lines. Telegraph lines were used to spread rumors. And when you would ask someone where they heard something, they would, and whether it was true or not, they would say, well, I heard it through the grapevine or from the grapevine. I'm not, I don't really know personally firsthand. And I realize today, the vast majority of information that we get nowadays and throughout my entire life has been something that's come through informal channels, something that's come through the grapevine. Why? Because in our lives, there are very few trustworthy formal lines of communication that are available to us. That's why it's important that we create those in our business, and we use the grapevine and the informal communication channels and chains effectively as well. This is one of those idioms that became really, really popular in the 1960s when Motown Records had the rights to it. Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong actually wrote the song in 1966. And then the first to record it was, I gotta look. Oh, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles were the first to record it, but the president of Motown Records wouldn't allow the release of it. I can't remember his name, Barry Gordon or somebody. He said, nope, you're not going to release it. Well, then two more groups recorded it. The first to actually release it was Gladys Knight and the Pips in September of 1967. And then Marvin Gaye in 1968 did a version of the song too. So it was obviously so popular and such a hit that all the big names of the time were recording it and releasing it. The grapevine, again, the informal channel that communication travels through our businesses, our lives, our corporations, our world, right? It's not verified information usually. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's gossip, sometimes it's not. But it travels really, really rapidly. The grapevine works, probably 10 times faster than the usual channels in our businesses and in our corporations. I mean, if you send out an email, it travels, but if you send out a rumor through the grapevine, that information travels way faster than the information that goes via our traditional means. So how have you used the grapevine as you've created your business and you've gone through your career? I learned early on, one of my first jobs out of college was for one of the biggest corporations on the planet, and they wanted to make what was considered a big change back then from a traditional, everybody had a job and a title and pretty much was paid based on what their job or their title they were hired for was. And we're trying to form a team structure and change over to a skill-based system where different people could acquire different skills and different functions for the team, and the more skills you had, the more you got paid, which meant in a very traditional workforce, people were not going to make the same amount of money based on what their job was. If you were a maintenance person, you made more money. If you're an engineer, and then it worked throughout the corporate levels as well, but we're talking about the teams. And so we were supposed to go from a non-traditional, or from a traditional, everybody's got a job and is on a team, to a team-based system where people could acquire different skills and do different training programs and have more value to the team, therefore they were paid more money. And as you can imagine, with people that had worked there and their parents had worked there and their grandparents had worked there, it wasn't a very popular idea. So I got wind of ways to sneak things out through the grapevine and the informal system in ways that highlighted the benefits to the people and the individuals. Because if you contributed more, it was a union environment, of course. If you contributed more, you got paid more. If you just did what you were hired to do and didn't do anything else or learn any other skills, then you stayed at the base rate that you were hired at, right? And in order to earn more money, you had to become more valuable to the organization and to the team, which in my opinion is as it should be. So we use the grapevine to leak out pieces of information that were of benefits and all of the positives about that change, because there were a ton of positives about that change. It made the company so much better. It made people's jobs more rewarding. We got away from some really bad habits that had formed in the organization based on the way the teams were set up and the sizes, etc. And so all in all, it was a win-win for the company. And it was a win-win for the people as well. So we can use the Grapevine in ways that benefit us and help us. I did the same thing in my own businesses. I would leak out pieces of information that I wanted to go through the informal channels in my industry, versus, because sending the information out in the formal way would have sounded, I guess, egotistical or promote-y on our own terms, when we just want to actually share information and get people excited about change that were coming from our business. So, love to know how, and if you've heard it from the grapevine, heard through the grapevine, if you've used the grapevine to help build and grow and supersize your business, share those stories in the comments below so we can learn from one another. That's it. Have an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up. I will be with you tomorrow with another communication-related idiom. Have a great day.